Hello, everybody. Excited Utterance here. My name is Hella. I'm from Brisbane, Australia, and I'm a graphic designer. And I'm here to show you how to use one of the most important tools in your vector toolbox, actually, in your entire graphic design toolbox. And it's called the pen tool. Now, you might have been avoiding trying to use it, using all sorts of other tools to try and draw, but I tell you what, you can't avoid the pen tool forever, but once you do learn how to use it, you'll be so pleased you did. Now, if you watch along today, you stick around to the end and you try some of these techniques yourself, you're going to be so pleased that you did. So let's get into it. I'm going to be opening up Adobe Illustrator. Now, if you have Adobe Photoshop, these same techniques work, even Adobe InDesign. And there are some other tools like SignLab, Affinity Designer, lots of other ones. Just search for pen tool and you might find that you have some software that works exactly the same. Mainly the Adobe suite is where you'll find these tools. And remember that pen tool is a vector tool. So if you go and have a look back at my previous video called What is a Vector Logo, you'll learn a lot more about what vectors are as opposed to pixels. Cool. All right. So I have my Adobe Illustrator up on the screen and I have a blank document. And I'm also going to show you what I'm going to be doing. So today I'm going to be tracing this flamingo, and I love flamingos, by the way. Really, really love flamingos. They're my favorite animal. One of my favorite animals, probably, yeah, definitely my favorite birdie. And I'm going to be tracing him, going to be making something like that. And I'm going to be using this tool over here, the pen tool. If I just mouse over the pen tool, you'll see when he comes up, notice how the pen tool is a series of dots and lines. Now, dots and lines are vectors. So it says create paths with precision using anchor points and handles. That's what we're going to be doing today. And you'll notice that when we start getting into using the pen tool, you'll see it everywhere in all of the softwares. All right. So before we actually start drawing the flamingo, I'm going to show you how to just draw generally. And over here, over on my right, you'll see that I'm working with the layers palette. You don't need to work with the layers palette just to do the exercise today. I'm using the layers palette purely so that I can uh, work with different things on the same document without moving around. So I just have a plain square document. Go to the File menu and New to create a square document. Mine is print document 300 by 300 millimeters. Use whichever kind of units that you like. Mine's 300 by 300, and you just go create. I've already done that. And quite simply, you need to go and get the pen tool. There's no need to actually click on the pen tool to get it. You can just press the P button. Press P, and then you've got it. Use as many shortcuts as you can, guys. It's really, really worth learning shortcuts. Now, this is the simplest thing you'll ever learn, and that is if you click once, you get a point. If you hold your shift key down and move it along, it stays in a straight line. Hold it down though. Click again, and you get another point. There you go, you have a line. Move it along without holding the shift key down. Click and drag, and note what happens, right? You end up with a curve, right? So the more that you drag this curve out, the more elongated the curve becomes. Now, notice how the curve is more elongated here than it is over here. That's because when I started to make my curve, it was further away from this initial dot over here, which is quite it's quite a fair way away, and it's quite a straight edge to that line. Now, if I want to stop the curve, notice how there's a little pointy bit on the end there. If I want to stop the curve, I need to press Option or Alt, and I need to click once. That will stop the curve. If I want to finish my line here, I need to press Escape. And then I can go back to my main select tool and click away. That ends the line. Or alternately, back to my P to get my pen tool back up. Alternately, I can go back to where I was, click drag. Now note that the curve wants to continue, right? This curve would like to continue, so I can let it. I can let the curve continue. I can keep drawing. If I want to keep drawing and I want to just make that curve go where it's intended to go, I could click once. Now note that at this point here, this line wants to either just go straight, and I can just go straight in any direction that I want, straight, like so. I'm just going to Command Z or Control Z, stop that. Or I could click drag to continue. Right? Now, it's very important when we click drag that we really maintain control of how much we're dragging. So what I notice when people are first starting to use the pen tool is they click drag like so, and they really lose control of this. And usually the reason they lose control is because they're not using a mouse. They're using their trackpad. Bad idea. Do not use your trackpad in order to use the pen tool. Trackpad is not designed for it. Okay, so you will have zero control over your use of the pen tool and many other tools in your graphic design toolkit if you try and use the trackpad. You'll be sitting there going like that. It just doesn't work. Because the thing about it is you're not just using your mouse. You're using this other hand as well, because you're not just pressing down with your mouse. You're actually going to be utilizing some little key commands as well. So as I go along, what I'm doing is I'm pressing the Option button in order to stop a curve. So watch this. This one here wants to continue. So I'm not going to continue it here. I'm going to press the Optional Alt key to stop it. Now I want to go back in the opposite direction. I'd like to do a curve this way. So in order to do a curve this way, what I'm going to do is I'm going to decide that I need to put a point here. So in order to put a point here, I'm going to click and drag. Right? I don't like the way that one works, so I'm going to do it again. I'm going to click and drag like so. Right? Remember, you can actually fix these afterwards. You're not stuck with exactly the curves that are there. So I'm going to click and drag, and then I'm going to click and hold like so. Now, if I press my Command key or your Control key if you are on Windows, you can change from your drawing pen tool to your direct select tool. That's the white arrow tool. Grab that point there, and now I can alter these handlebars, right? And in our last video, we spoke about the handlebars. I'm going to put the link to the last video in the description. Now, I can change these handlebars and I can make this smoother. There are other ways to make it smoother, which are newer to the more recent versions of Illustrator. And I will go through those in a moment. I'd like to just show you the more old-fashioned way right now because they are more transferable to other softwares. So for example, all I'm doing right now is with my direct selection tool on and I'm holding down my Command key or my Control key, if it were Windows, is I'm moving around individual anchor points. I'm pulling out the handlebars, and that is allowing me to smooth the curves that I just made. Now, what I would also suggest is using Command or Control ++. And the space bar, if I press the space bar down, notice that my hand tool comes up. That allows me to move around the page. You don't need to work at a distance, everybody, right? You can work nice and close up. Really see the curves that you're working with. See what it is that you're making, right? Because so often I see students, beginners, even professionals, working from a distance. And then when it gets to the point where they're going to print or they're blowing something up really nice and large, you see that there's really nasty details going on in their work. So you have the ability to look at really, really close up. You might as well. So here I am, and I've just put Option click at the end here. I'm going to create something a little bit more detailed through here, through here, through here. And then I'm going to decide that, you know what, I actually want something a bit more crunchy. Crunch, crunch, crunch. And all I need to do in order to do that is not drag. So just click, 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 click. And now I'm going to do another curve. Click, drag, click, drag, click, drag. Now, very importantly, and I'm making something extremely random right now, purely in order to explain to you. Very importantly, right now, I'm creating something that is path with a white fill. If you have a look over here in my toolbar, you'll see fill and stroke. And by default, it's white fill with a black stroke. So if I were to close this off, and every object is either an open path or a closed path. At the moment, it's an open path, and I'm going to just leave it as an open path. I'm going to press escape in order to stop drawing. I'm going to go to my direct selection tool, and I'm going to show you exactly what I mean. So this object here, I'm going to change its fill color from white to something you can see like red. Right, see what's happened. Okay, because it's an open path and it has a fill, notice what's happened. It's tried to join it up somehow, okay? And when it's gotten to the end and we've ended up with a piece that's sort of gone backwards on itself, it hasn't understood how to fill, how to deal with that fill. So instead, what I'm going to have to do is either give it no fill, so give it nothing, or I'm going to have to close this path up somehow. So I'll show you how to do that. In this instance, I'm going to have to go to the end, perhaps shift click to make it into a closed box. Now note, I have my smart guides on right now. Go to window and view and smart guides, command U to make sure that you have smart guides on. All right, back down here. Oops. Here and click. Now, if I go and hold my shift key down and pull over to the left hand side, you'll see that as I go over, this little pink line comes up, and that's it telling me, hey, you're getting really close to where that first point is. So it says, and a little word comes up that says intersect. That means that if I click it there, it will be in line with the original anchor point. So that's really helpful. I can go like so to join it back up. And now I have what's called a closed object or a closed path. If I fill it, check it out. That's a nice closed path. I don't know what I just made, but it's a fairly complex path, and it was something that I made that had some sort of decision making involved. Now, let's get to our flamingo, because that's what we're here for. Alrighty, I'm going to delete that, and I'm going to go to my layers palette, because that was my working layer. Now, I just went and got this flamingo from Google, and the flamingo is sitting down there on this bottom layer, and you can see that I have a little lock on the bottom layer. The reason I've locked the bottom layer is because I don't want to move this flamingo by accident. Now, I also have prepared one earlier. So this is the path that we're going to make. And I created that path in about a minute. I'm going to go a little bit slower for you, but not much slower, because I'm going to show you really quite quickly how you can do this yourself. PS, if you just search for flamingo and do a little screenshot of a flamingo like this, you can do the same thing yourself. Or you could even screenshot my video and you could do the same trace yourself. So I'm going to turn off that prep layer. I'm going to turn on my flamingo layer and I'm going to turn on my working layer that we were just using a minute ago. And I'm going to start doing this for you. And I'm going to turn off this red fill that I had. I'm going to start working with a line color. Now, it's really important that you choose a line color that you can see on top of the thing that you're tracing. Now, black, not sure. Let me just see if I can find a better color. Maybe like a bright green or something, kind of like using a green screen. Yeah, okay, we might go with that. Okay, let's move it. So I'm going to zoom right in on the beak and I'm going to get my pen tool. Remember, click P. And it's good to always make sure you start somewhere where you can remember exactly where you start. So I'm going to start at the tip of the beak. There we go. Now, click once, click, drag. Now, use as few points as you can because the fewer points you have, the less you have to tidy up and the cleaner your outcome is going to be. Click, drag. Now this one goes in a little bit, so I'm going to grab the middle point of where it goes in. So click, drag in. It goes up a little bit. Click, drag up. Then it goes down. Click, drag outwards. Now, this part here, I probably don't need many points. So click, drag. Now, there's this part of the neck. I can probably note how I'm going a few pixels inwards, guys. So I'm not trying to go out there into the blue section. I'm going a little bit in. So I'm clipping the flamingo in because I'm actually going to do what's called making a clipping mask. And clipping mask can also be used to clip the image away from its background. And this is something that's often done in print and like making magazines and things like that, like cutting out products. I'm just going to go back a step to explain. Cutting out products for brochures and things, instead of using like the whole remove background thing that you get like in Canva, etc. Designers will go through and do really, really nice clean lines using this pen tool because they get really, really good with it. And it's much cleaner and less likely to cause little blotches in the background. Okay, so this part here, I'm going to put my point there. I'm going to drag it. And then I'm actually going to stop the direction. I'm going to press the Option or Alt key, depending on if you're on a PC. I'm on a Mac, by the way. Alt to stop it because I'm going to change its direction. And I'm going to go up here, there. Note that I didn't put a point down here anywhere. The reason being because I want less points. So I'm choosing a place to put a point that's halfway or so between where my curve is. So see this point and this point, sort of halfway between is a good place to put it. So now I'm going to put another one up here. I'll just drag it in a little bit. And now I'm going to stop this one again, Option click. And that looks like I can just drag like so, Option click or Alt click inwards, Alt click outwards, Alt click, Option and drag, Alt click around, around. So it's click and drag, and then Option click. I'm using those terms interchangeably, guys, because it depends if you're on a Mac or a PC. You'll get used to which one yours is. Option click, click drag, Option click. Now, note where this point is here, and I'm just creating a silhouette. I'm not worrying about the inner details right now. that would be for another day. But now, see where these two wings join? I'm going to go and put a point there, and I'm going to click drag, and then option click to stop it. And now, see how there's like a nice, it's a pretty straight area here. I'm going to, I think I might do one straight line just to demonstrate that's a straight line, one click, no dragging. Now this is not straight, so I'm going to click drag there, option click, click drag, click drag, and then click drag like so, and just this little piece of feather, click drag, click drag, drag, click drag. All right, and now see how we're starting to get into some more detailed little bits. Now I'm going to start to be a little bit more heavy-handed with my pen tool. So I'm going to go in and go do, 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 a bit more softly. I'm going to click, drag, click, drag, click, drag, click, drag, and just get a little bit more texture. And I'll just zoom in and show you what I'm doing. Click, drag, click, drag, click, drag, click, drag. Now it's up to you if you feel comfortable doing this or not. I like to do it just when I've got something like this, which I know wouldn't really look um, as sharp as just a straight line. And I know I can give it a little bit more detail if I click drag a little more. So if I just give it a little bit of roughness, I know that feathery area there would be a little more detailed. I'm just going to command set that little bit there. You don't need to use curves. You could go flat little click, 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 click. And I know earlier I said the less points, the better. And that's true. However, sometimes, especially for a small little illustration like this, you can get away with adding a little bit more detail. Okay, that's cool. So I'm happy with that little bit. And now I'm going to just go back to the kind of drawing that I was doing a minute ago. Click drag, click drag, click drag, click drag, click drag, click drag. Oh, I wasn't happy with that last one. Click drag, click drag, click drag, click drag, and stop that point there. Alt click. His leg there. Now there is a little hole there, like the blue area. I'm not going to get too worried about that today. But what you would need to do, especially like when there's a gap, like a space in the arm or something like that, is cut that out again with the pen tool and do what's called a compound mask. And it's quite a simple matter, but we will cover that on another tutorial day. Simply though, if you wanted to look that one up, it's a matter of selecting both this outer path and an inner path that you would just draw like so, selecting them both together and creating going object, mask, compound mask, make. Those are the commands. Okay, keeping going. All I'm doing is click, drag, click, drag, click, drag, click, drag. You can see how fast it is once you really get used to it. Click, drag. I'm almost there. Click, drag, click, drag. click, drag, click, drag, click, drag, click, drag, click, drag. Oops. And you know what? I think I could pretty much join him up there. Now, Illustrator has this cool thing called corner widgets. So see how this part here has a corner to it now, it's quite sharp. Notice this little circle object. So if I grab this little circle object, I can pull this in. Note that actually takes away that sharpness to that corner. It's up to you if you want to do it or not. I actually quite like that little sharp corner on his beak. Okay, done. We now have this vector object. Now I'm going to show you one little fun thing as a bonus, and that is if I go to my layers. Where's my layers gone again? Hello, layers. All right, fine. I will just go bring it up through here. Object, layers. Cool. I'm going to unlock my flamingo layer for a moment. I'm going to copy this object here, turn off my working layer, go to my flamingo layer, and I'm going to go Command F onto my flamingo layer. Command F means paste in front. And I'm going to shift select that object and the picture object. And then I'm going to go Command 7. Command 7, what that does, it's called create clipping mask. So what that did was it took the picture and it put it into the path that we just made from the pen tool, which is pretty cool. So let's just make sure that worked. Yes, it did. So now we have a flamingo inside a vector mask. And we also, up here, if I go up to my working layer, we still have this other one, this other shape, which was sitting up on this working layer. And if I want to, I can go and make him into a silhouette. And I might even just using my eyedropper tool, which is use the eye. There he is there, eyedropper tool, eye for eyedropper. I can go and turn him big. And I might go Command Shift left bracket. I need to take him back to the bottom layer. And then Command Shift left bracket. And why not? Cute. So now we have a vector flamingo drawn with the pen tool. And we have a raster flamingo that is masked off with a vector mask created with the pen tool. So that is the end of today's tutorial. And I'd like to thank everybody for being with me today. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, you're welcome to leave them in the comments. And just trust me, if once you play with the pencil, you really do need to practice it. But once you play with it and get used to it, it is obviously it's in Illustrator, it's in Photoshop, it's in InDesign, and it's in lots of other softwares as well. The pen tool is something that's well worth learning how to use. Once you learn it, you will have so much more control of your softwares. I can't imagine not having a good understanding of how to use the pen tool. Use a mouse though. Do not try to do it with a trackpad. It's just not worth it. Thank you so much for being with me today. Please like and subscribe. Please tell your friends. And wherever you are, on this side of the world, on that side of the world, on any side of the world, morning, noon, or night, you have a wonderful day. Thank you.